Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks today. We're talking Tuesday's NBA betting slate, December 10th. We only got 2 games on tap for the NBA tonight, 2 NBA Cup games. If you are into that, I'm going to have 3 players that we are backing, 2 of which we are climbing to pretty juicy ladders. So it's going to end up being like 6 or 7 total bets, backing 3 players to have good games. Real quick, before we get into those picks, just want to give you guys a recap. It's been a couple days since I've had an NBA video. On the entire season, we're up 4.35 units, which, we're basically a little bit over breaking even. That's fine. Nothing terrible about that. We are on a pretty nice run, though. Like in the month of December, we're having a pretty good month. Started off the year just absolutely terribly, but things are starting to go in our favor, so hopefully that continues tonight. If you're new to my channel, remember to like the video, comment, subscribe. Let's start talking these plays. So play number 1, we're starting in the first game, Magic versus Bucks. I'm going with Cole Anthony, 15 plus points, plus 105 odds at FanDuel. Now, I'll admit it's hard to know what to expect from this Magic team. They're now missing Franz Wagner after also missing Paolo Banchero, who's been out for over a month. Just a pretty brutal turn of events happening to this Magic team. That's a very fun young team. So we don't 100% know what they're going to look like with these 2 guys missing. But I'm calling my shot that it's at least going to be Cole Anthony scoring 15 plus points at least for this game. This is a type of situation where if you're a hit rate type of person, if you're going to look at his game logs, you are not going to be very impressed. Those are meaningless. You absolutely cannot take anything from those situations because Franz Wagner was in all of those games, right? Like if you look at the entire season, Cole Anthony's averaging about 10 minutes per game, a little bit over that. But if you go off of the 1 game sample size, which I understand isn't perfect, but that's the only information we have without Franz this year, Anthony played just under 30 minutes in the last game. Again, it's been 1 game, but he did play under 30 minutes. So 10 minutes to 30 minutes is a pretty big deal. He also took 14 shots in that game, which we love to see. Now, he only scored 14 points, going 6 of 14 from the field, so he would have just hooked this 15 plus point number. But we like the fact that, again, he played almost 30 minutes, and we like the fact that he put up 14 shots. If you're telling me tonight he's going to put up 14 shots, I'll take my chances that he's going to make 7 of those shots, 1 of which hopefully being a 3-pointer to get us to 15 plus points, not even talking about getting to the line. Another reason why I like looking at Cole Anthony in this one is because his skill set is the best skill set to attack this Bucks defense. The way you want to target the Bucks defense is with guards that are adept at running the pick and roll, pulling up, and all that kind of stuff. The Bucks are allowing literally the most, number 1, points allowed to the point guard position, and it's all because of this situation. The guards, players that run a lot of pick and rolls are generally guards, generally point guards, and again, the Bucks are allowing 30 out of 30 in terms of points allowed to the point guard position. And, excuse me, to go even more, to get into more detail than that, the Bucks are tied with the Kings with allowing the second most points per possession, specifically to pick and roll ball handlers. So that's how they allow points to the point guard is from pick and roll ball handlers. Now, looking at the season for Cole Anthony, unfortunately, NBA.com doesn't allow you to look at play type data for 1 singular game or even a time frame. I have no idea why. That's incredibly dumb. They have the data. Just let us filter it by games, which you can't. What I do know is that Cole Anthony's, the play type in which he scores the majority of his points is out of the pick and roll as the pick and roll ball handler. And when he is on the floor, he has the highest frequency on the Magic of his play types being a pick and roll ball handler, meaning when he's on the court, he spams running pick and rolls as the ball handler. Again, the highest frequency of play type being a pick and roll ball handler. That's how you beat this Bucks defense. Now, I get different situations, not always perfect, but last year he cashed this 15 plus points number in 2 of 3 games against the Bucks. And in the 1 game he went under, he scored 13 points. So he came close, 1 basket away. It's gross, but I like backing Cole Anthony tonight. That's our first play. Next up, our second pick, and we're heading to the Mavericks versus Thunder game. This is our first ladder climb of the night, and it's a Kyrie Irving assists ladder. So I'm taking him over 4.5 assists, putting the 1 unit McSlam on that bad boy. And then we're going 6 plus and 7 plus as well. The odds and everything you can see are on the screen here. Hopefully these don't change that dramatically over the course of the day, so you're able to lock in the odds that I get. But over 4.5, I got at minus 110. Last I checked, I think it was actually minus 105. So you can actually get a better price than what I got. On the 6 plus assist number was plus 170. And on the 7+ assist number, that was plus 350. So for those of you who celebrate, happy Kyrie Irving versus Thunder assist day. For those of you that don't remember, especially in last year's playoff series between these two teams, Kyrie Irving really didn't score that much. Instead, he was playmaking a ton. Like, there were some games where he took like 6 shots, did not even get to 10 points. He also had some games where he had double-digit assists. He had a really, really good series from a playmaking perspective against the Thunder. Now, this year, he's only played the Thunder one time, but he had 6 assists on 11 potential assists in that game. Now, that game's not perfect because Luka didn't play in that game, so it's hard to take a ton out of that. But he has had success against the Thunder, specifically in games in which Luka was in the lineup. Now, a lot of this was in the playoff series last year, but last year, these two teams played 7 games in which Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic shared the floor together. 1 regular season game, 6 playoff games. In those games, Kyrie Irving went over 4.5 assists in 4 of 7 games. He actually averaged 6.4 assists in those 7 games as well. So he averaged over the 4.5 number, and he averaged over the 6 number to hit the first leg of our ladder climb. The funny thing is, though, in all 4 games he went over, he reached 7 or more assists. In those 4 games, he had 8, 11, 7, and 9 assists in the 4 games that he went over. So averaged 6.4 in the 7 games, went over in 4 games, but all 4 games in which he went over, he literally hit the highest leg of the ladder climb that we are going, which is the 7+ assists. Again, that's off of last year's data. This year, we only have 1 game these two teams played, and Luka didn't play. Last year, Kyrie Irving only played the Thunder in 1 game in which Luka Doncic also played, but he had 8 assists in that game on 13 potential assists. I'll gladly take 13 potential assists for him to get the 4, 5, 6 number for him to cash out, or the 5, 6, 7 number for him to cash out this ladder play. And, there's actual basketball reasons why the Thunder are such a good matchup for Kyrie Irving assists. The reason why? They sell out to stop him from scoring. You watch these games. They will not allow Kyrie Irving to beat them from scoring. Instead, they're going to let him beat them from playmaking, which is what happened in the playoffs and which happened in the first game this year. And in general, if you just look at the play types in which Kyrie Irving scores, the Thunder don't allow many points to those play types, right? Like number 1 and 2, in terms of play types where the majority of Kyrie Irving's points come from, is via isolation and a pick and roll ball handler. The Thunder allow the second fewest points per game to both of those categories. The third category where Kyrie Irving scores the third majority of his points is via transition. The Thunder allow the 5th fewest transition points in the NBA. They're very good at guarding the transition. So instead of scoring, he's playmaking. I love the main line for him to get to at least 5 assists to cash this out. I also love the ladder climb as well to get to the 6 and 7 number, which he did. I got to the 6 number in 1 game this year, got to the 7 number in 4 of 7 games with Luka specifically last year. So I think it's a good look. I love the Kyrie Irving assist play tonight. Same game, our third and final pick of the video, and one more ladder climb, is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 5.5 assists. And then we're laddering him to 7+ and 8+ as well. Now, depending on when you're watching this, the odds might be different. So depending what you're looking at, you might only get the 7+ and the 8+ number. But it's the same thing. I absolutely love this assist prop for another point guard, just the point guard on the other side of the court in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander against the Mavericks. It's very similar. Like, you look at SGA, and when he plays this Mavericks team, he racks up a ton of assists. 1 game these two teams played this year, which, again, no Luka, but that doesn't really affect anything on SGA's side. He climbed the full ladder. SGA did. He had 8 assists in that game. More importantly, this is the most important thing here. He had 20 potential assists in that game. 20 potential assists and only got 8 actual assists. That's a terrible conversion ratio. And if you're telling me he's even going to come close to 20 potential assists, I'll gladly take for him to get to at least 8 actual assists. If you want to look back at last year and you want to take out the playoffs, because I get playoffs is a little bit of a different situation. You look at the regular season specifically. SGA played the Mavericks 4 times last year. He only hit 6 or more assists in 2 of those 4 games, but both games he went under, he had exactly 5 assists. We just would have hooked us, but that's the floor in the regular season last year, was at least 5 assists. Now, his potential assists were a little bit spotty. Like 2 of the games, he had 13 or more potential assists. In the other 2 games, he had 9 or fewer. But if you expand the data to include the playoffs and you go off of last year's data, SGA hit 6 or more assists in 7 of 10 games. All 3 he went under. He had exactly 5 assists. He also climbed the full ladder of 8 assists in 5 of those 10 games. And more importantly, he had 13 potential assists in 8 of 10 games against the Mavericks last year. And if you look at the 1-game sample size this year, he has at least 13 potential assists in 9 of 11 games against the Mavericks, dating back the last 2 seasons. Now, if you just look at like positional stuff, the Mavericks are an average matchup for a point guard assist. They're not good. They're not bad. That's exactly what average means. But one thing that the Mavericks do is they really try to not let themselves get beat by the lead scorer. So it's not necessarily a position thing. It's a player thing. Like if you remember the playoffs or the finals last year, Jaylen Brown absolutely cooked the Mavericks from an assist perspective. They just really sell out to not let themselves get beat by these number 1 options. If you look through their game log this year, it kind of reflects that. Like Scotty Barnes had 14 assists in the Mavericks last game. Jordan Poole 2 games ago had 8 assists against the Mavericks. Smaller, like go back a little further. Devin Booker had 12 assists against them. Jalen Brunson hooked. He had 7, and his over under was 7.5. He had exactly 7 assists, so didn't quite go over in that one. But that game was just a complete and utter blowout. So it's just a weird game in general. But the game log kind of shows you that the Mavericks really try not to let themselves get beat by these number 1 options scoring. And SGA is happy to play make when it comes to it. So I love this play backing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Again, depending when you're watching this, the odds might be different. If you can only get the 7+ and 8+ number, I'm cool with that. Hit both of those. I love all 3 of these plays. I love the ladder climbs as well. That's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. If you're interested in getting all my plays sent to you for $5 a month, check out the Dub Club. Gets you everything that I'm playing. Again, it's only $5 a month sent directly to your phone. It's the same plays that you see me give out on YouTube. You just get them early, so there's no issues of waiting for there's no issues of the odds changing and everything like that, because you can get the exact odds that I get with a screenshot of the actual bet slip and stuff like that. So if you're interested, check that out. Link is everywhere. If you're not interested, no problem. You can still get everything for free on YouTube and on Twitter. Appreciate everybody for watching, and have a good one.